Imagine living in a world where you're out of money and gasping for air. Look around you. There are no real trees, no leaves changing color in the fall, and no free air to catch a breath. These scenarios are presented in the Dr. Seuss film, The Lorax. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie because it raises ethical issues regarding the environmental impacts of our actions, the moral implications of success, and the possible dangers of ambition. I'll now give you a description of The Lorax and my personal evaluation of the film. The Lorax is an animated musical comedy film based off of a book written by Dr. Seuss. The main characters are the Onceler and the Lorax, but other mentionable characters are Ted, the main protagonist, his grandma, Grammy Norma, and the mayor. The issue of the plot starts with the Onceler cutting down a truffula tree to make a sweater called the Thneed. The Lorax, representing all the creatures whose lives are affected negatively by the environmental damage, he suddenly appears and tells the Onceler that he shouldn't be cutting down any trees. The mayor sees an opportunity with all the trees being cut down, and he jumps on that opportunity for success. Years later, with no real trees left and the mayor successfully selling air, a young boy named Ted sets out to find a real truffula tree, and his grandma, Grammy Norma, becomes his lookout. With the understanding of what the Lorax was about, I'd like to now focus on my evaluation of the film. The story was meaningful and educational, not only for kids, but I think it was also educational for adults as well. This movie speaks volumes about what can happen to our Earth if we don't protect our environment. The illustrations were vibrant and really eye-catching. It keeps you glued the whole time. I think it's because it's a children's film. The realization that our society could come to a point where we have to buy our air to breathe is really shocking. If we don't protect our trees, we could end up with no wildlife and no real nature. And the thought of that is scary and crazy to think about. The undertones in this movie are interesting, and I believe they touch a bit on capitalism because of the mayor selling air, which is a common resource, so he shouldn't be selling air. The vocal actors also did an amazing job portraying the characters in this movie, and the twists and turns in the plot keep you really engaged, and they're intriguing. It definitely leaves you thinking. I've given you a brief description of the Lorax as well as my personal evaluation of the film. I thought this movie was not only pleasant, but also very educational with the way it's illustrated concern for the environment and potentially scary drive for success. If you want to watch a movie that's colorful and fun, but also meaningful and very educational, I would recommend watching The Lorax.